All right, so it looks like Steve Smith Sr. Addressing all things wide receiver ahead of the NFL season and training camp getting ready to kick off. And he broke it down on Jerry Jeudy. Now, Steve Smith Sr. has a infamous rant on Jerry Jeudy, calling him out, blasting him while he was a Denver Bronco. It was brutal. It was brutal. Now we have Steve Smith Sr.
Jerry Jeudy has 1 year left to save his career in Cleveland, and the man who used to tear him apart just told everyone why. Steve Smith Sr. doesn't hold back, never has. And when he turned his attention back to Jerry Jeudy this offseason, it wasn't out of nowhere. This is a man who once ripped Jeudy apart on national television during his Denver days, called him out by name, didn't blink. So when Smith brings Jeudy's name up again, you listen. Because this time, it's not just criticism, it's a warning. 10 drops, second most in the entire NFL last season, for a receiver who was a Pro Bowler, a top 100 player just a year and a half earlier. Something broke, and everybody in Cleveland wants to know what. Here's the part that should scare Jeudy's camp the most. No guaranteed money left on his deal. None. And the front office didn't sit on their hands this offseason. They went out and drafted a receiver early, then another one in the second round. Then Isaiah Bond showed up to minicamp and turned heads doing it. The message from the Browns front office couldn't be louder if they'd said it out loud: perform or get replaced. This is the story of a receiver fighting for his football life, a rookie quarterback fighting for a starting job, and a locker room trying to figure out if two of its biggest names can actually play together, because last year they couldn't.
The leader in the hen house, right? Year and a half ago, a Pro Bowler, a top 100 player in the National Football League, and however, had a very interesting 2025 season. Would you say, or am I just being a little bit too critical?
He had 10 drops. I mean, that's not on the quarterback, really. That's mostly, obviously, on you as the wide receiver. I think that was second most in the NFL. The other part that, as you mentioned, some guys on notice, Steve, he has no guaranteed money after this year.
Rewind to last season. Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders were supposed to be must-watch. Instead, what fans got was tension. Real tension. Cameras caught them arguing on the sideline. Not once, more than once. Anyone who watched the games saw it happen in real time. A receiver and a quarterback who were not on the same page and weren't hiding it. Now imagine being Jeudy walking into this season. The guy you didn't click with might be your starting quarterback. Or it might be Deshaun Watson under center instead. Either way, the pressure doesn't go away. It just changes shape. Steve Smith didn't sugarcoat it either. On his own podcast, breaking down Jeudy's 2025 season, he didn't pretend the drops were somebody else's fault. That's not on the quarterback, Smith said. That's on you as the receiver. Brutal. Direct. Exactly the kind of thing that gets repeated in NFL front offices and locker rooms long after the podcast episode ends. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone agrees Jeudy is finished in Cleveland. Not even close. Mary Kay Cabot, who's covered this team as closely as anyone, sees a different angle. She sees a receiver who spent an entire season getting thrown off by chaos at the quarterback position. A carousel of starters, no continuity, no rhythm. And now, she says Jeudy looks rejuvenated, working harder than he has in years. Still expected to open the season as WR1 in Cleveland. Still talented enough to put up another 1,000-yard season if the quarterback play stabilizes around him. So which is it? Is Jerry Jeudy a cautionary tale about wasted talent, or a receiver one good quarterback away from proving everybody wrong? That answer might come down to 5 weeks in training camp, maybe less. Because everything in Cleveland right now circles back to one question. Who's playing quarterback? Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, Kayin Green? 4 names, 1 job, and a fan base that has strong opinions about every single one of them.
That's great, man. Shedeur ready to go. Shedeur ready to go. Locked in. Locked and loaded. You got Deshaun getting it in. They getting it in, man. They getting ready for training camp, so that's all good. Now, Mary Kay Cabot also broke down Jerry Jeudy in his wide receiver situation. Let's get into it.
I really do think it's an opportunity for Jerry to rebound. He did not fare well with all the quarterback, the lack of continuity.
Sanders enters this offseason locked in. Multiple people around the building have used that exact word, locked in. Putting in extra work, building relationships, trying to erase the memory of a rookie year that came with more noise than production. If there was friction with Judy last season, this is the offseason where both men have every incentive to fix it, because neither one of them can afford another year of visible dysfunction on that side of the ball. And Deshaun Watson isn't fading into the background either. Reports have him running his own private camp down in South Florida, getting throws in, building chemistry with the guys willing to make the trip. Some fans saw that and immediately smelled controversy. Separate quarterback camps, separate circles, a locker room dividing itself before camp even opens. Mary Kay Cabot pushed back on that narrative directly. She pointed back to something Sanders himself said in minicamp. He didn't want separate camps in the first place, called that kind of split divisive, said it could get kind of weird. According to her reporting, there wasn't some hidden inventory being taken of who worked out with who. These guys, in her words, are just getting ready the way they know how. Still, perception is its own kind of pressure, and in Cleveland, perception spreads fast. Then there's the name almost nobody's talking about enough, Dillon Gabriel. A coach on this staff publicly refused to rule him out as a possible starter. Not week one, most people think, but the door isn't closed. Gabriel spent last season getting thrown into some of the worst possible situations a young quarterback can face. A start in London, a start in Pittsburgh, an offensive line that couldn't protect him, a supporting cast that wasn't fully built yet. Even Joe Flacco, a guy who started playoff games and won a Super Bowl, struggled by that same group.
So he'll have an opportunity to go out there and have that 1,000-yard season again and have that Pro Bowl season again, and it will be interesting. He and Shedeur Sanders did not have chemistry on the field last year. They just did not. We all saw it. There were times where they even argued, and we could see that captured on film. So those two guys, if Shedeur wins the job, they have to make sure that they have their act together. And if Deshaun wins the job, then they have to find some chemistry, and I think they've all...
So now, Gabriel gets his shot to prove something in camp. His job, according to people around the team, is simple. Go out and prove he deserves to be the third quarterback on this roster. If rookie Kayin Green shows he's not ready for that role yet, Gabriel could be the one who sticks. If Green forces his way onto the roster instead, Gabriel might be the one looking for a fresh start somewhere else entirely, maybe even traded before camp wraps. 4 men, 1 job, and every single one of them knows the stakes. Here's something else worth sitting with. Jared Verse, a player who has genuinely elite competition to compare against around the league, came out and said he's seen 2 elite-level quarterbacks already in this building. 2, not 1. Now, is that a teammate just being generous with his words? Possibly. He'd only been around the team for a handful of OTAs in 1 minicamp at that point, not exactly a full season of tape to judge from. But it's still notable. Players talk, and when a guy with real standards starts throwing around the word elite, people around the league take notice. This is where the story gets bigger than 1 receiver or 1 quarterback. This is about an entire team trying to figure out its identity in real time, with a defense that just lost one of its most dominant players, and questions swirling about whether this roster can survive that loss without an equally strong push from a quarterback who hasn't proven himself yet at this level. Mary Kay Cabot said something that cuts right to the heart of it. You don't need a top 5 quarterback to win in this league. You need a top 15, maybe a top 12 on a good day. But that only works if the defense and the supporting cast are strong enough to cover for it. Take away a defensive anchor, and suddenly that margin for error at quarterback shrinks fast.
Well, I think the future for Dillon Gabriel is to go out in this camp and prove that he deserves to be the third quarterback on this football team. And that will be his task. They will put 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and then they probably will have 1 on the practice squad as well. And it's probably going to come down to what happens between Dillon and Kayin Green. If Kayin demonstrates that he's ready to go out there and do what Dillon Gabriel...
That's the real pressure sitting on Shedeur Sanders' shoulders right now. It's not just about beating out Watson or holding off Gabriel. It's about proving he can be efficient enough, consistent enough, that this defense doesn't have to be perfect every single week just to keep the Browns competitive. And if you're a fan of this team, and if you've made it this far into the video, you clearly are, this is exactly the kind of story worth sticking around for. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this quarterback battle, this Judy redemption arc, all of it is going to play out live over the next few weeks, and you don't want to miss a single moment of it. So where does this all land? Training camp isn't just going to answer who starts at quarterback.
It's going to answer whether Jerry Jeudy has anything left to give this offense, whether Shedeur Sanders can build real chemistry with the guy he clashed with all last season, and whether Deshaun Watson's private camp down in Florida was smart preparation or a quiet sign of a locker room pulling in different directions. Steve Smith Sr. already made his feelings clear. Jerry Jeudy's days in Cleveland might be numbered, and the tape from last year backs that up. But Mary Kay Cabot sees a receiver capable of one more big season if the pieces around him finally click into place. Both of them can't be completely right. Camp is going to decide which one was reading this team correctly. What we do know is this: Shedeur Sanders isn't hiding from the pressure. He's not avoiding Judy, he's not ducking the quarterback competition, and by every account coming out of Berea, he's putting in the work like a guy who knows this is the year that defines everything that comes next for him in the NFL. The best man is going to win this job. Cleveland is about to find out exactly who that is.